I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate for as long as I am physically able. It's enough for me. 12 hours now I'm standing and I'm still going strong because this president is wrong. For almost 20 hours, we have laid out what they're trying to do. 20 hours. I want to stand more, and I will, but I'm begging people, don't let this be another normal day in America.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Democratic Senator Cory Booker. So,
You all have some Jersey up in here.
oh yeah, so it's nice to see you sitting.
Yeah.
Did you get any rest?
I have, but as you know, it's been go, go, go.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be one in the number of millions of people that were standing in rain, standing across the country, coast to coast, and speaking up. So I've been pushing it still.
How happy were you to see all the folks that came out around the country?
Yeah.
It was for me food for the soul.
Yeah.
You didn't see partisan band waving. You saw Americans standing up for Americans.
Yeah.
Because we really are at a moral moment, as we've been generations past in the suffrage movement, the civil rights movement, the labor movement, the LGBTQ movement. So many movements we've seen Americans join arms, a rainbow coalition, standing up for what's right.
And this ain't a one-time thing. This is going to stay. This is going to stay with Americans every day until the stuff is fixed.
And America, as you said, America was watching, but your mom was also watching. She's no stranger to good trouble, and she was watching when you did this. And when did you realize you actually had enough left in the tank to be able to go the distance? And the question we all want to know is, how did it feel for you to break the record of Strom Thurmond, that racist who set the record filibustering the Civil Rights Act of 1957? I hope he's turning over in his grave.
Well, so first of all, about that, what I loved about the civil rights movement leaders that I love is they never let Bull Connor pull them so low as to hate Bull Connor. Yeah. They never let Strom Thurmond pull them so low as to hate him. And sometimes God uses people in ways that they don't even know. He planted a seed that a generation later, somebody would get a chance to show that the hateful words that he was espousing won't win the day. And so I'm grateful for that. But, you know, you asked me physically, we all know that the body has limits, but the spirit has none. If you have a big enough why. And what I know from my work in Newark when I was coming up as mayor and now my work in New Jersey is that there are a lot of people who've worked 2 8-hour shifts and they pick up the third. You know, there's a woman I named, they called her Mama Tasha, at an IHOP in Bergen Street that would pick up another shift and keep going past her physical restraints because she had a big enough why. For her, it was her 3 kids. There are medical professionals and nurses assistants that pick up that third shift, work a full around the clock. So I'm grateful for the love and attention towards me, but we need to center those people who are working full-time jobs, catching that extra shift, and still in America, they're not making ends meet because we have a nation that has tremendous wealth, but we have not found a way to be there for folks and put stresses on folks in this country that are not on other countries. Our competitors have paid family leave.
Yeah, they do.
Our competitors have the ability to stay out more than 2 weeks after you've had a baby. There are so many things that aren't right in this country, and we all need to let that motivate us not to sit complacently and just accept this as the way it is. We need to stand up and start showing that we can form an America. We can redeem the dream of America for more people through our activism.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, Senator,
People have been looking to the Democratic Party for a fighter, for a resistance leader, for an opposition party, and you gave them that. So thank you. You called this a moral moment, and on the floor you invoked John Lewis saying, if it is to be, it is up to me. So there have been mounting calls for fresh Senate leadership, myself among them. So why not you?
Well, you know, Ella Baker said it so famously, we are the leaders that we've been looking for. And Americans, we don't need a title to lead. You don't need a position to lead. We all have the capacity to lead. And, you know, during the Affordable Care Act fight in 2017, when in that case it was 20 million Americans that could have lost health care. Now with Medicaid, it could be 80, 90 million Americans that lose health care. But in those days, I would like to say it was Senate Democratic leadership through our devastatingly articulate eloquence that persuaded John McCain. But that's just not true. It's just not true. He famously put his thumb down because Americans, I saw these kids with disabilities in wheelchairs rolling up to senators and speaking truth to power. And so if there's anything that real leaders do, real leaders, and this is what I aspire to be held to this measure, are those that don't say, follow me. They're the ones that inspire other people to realize that they are leaders and their voice is needed.
Yeah, so important. Senator, it seems like there's a natural kind of groundswell of energy. The Democrats clocked a big win in last week in Wisconsin. Over the weekend, protesters in over 1,000 cities, all 50 states, rallied against the president's policies. So what happens now, and what should Democrats do to capitalize on this momentum?
Well, again, I know we are living in a really tribal moment where we talk about terms in that binary way. But what I'm hearing from is Republicans who are afraid that if they lose their Medicaid-funded transportation program for their disabled child, their whole economy falls apart. I'm hearing from these bold and noble Republican veterans that are saying, you are cutting 80,000 jobs. And now I, as a female veteran, am going to have to wait for basic gynecological care for months and months and months. And so I keep saying this, if we center this as a right versus left, then we're wrong. That's right. It's really not. It's not about right or left. It's about right or wrong. And we need to stand up and call this a moral moment. And so for my hope for my party is that we're less concerned about our party than we are concerned about the people we want to serve.
I love that.
That's right.
Senator, markets are in free fall today. A lot of American wealth has been wiped out because of these tariffs that Donald Trump put in place. Now, some of your Republican colleagues have been outspoken about them and that it will hurt their constituents. Do you think that the Senate will act to reverse these tariffs, and are there enough Republican votes that you would be able to?
So the tariffs, Medicaid, you're hearing voices on both sides of the aisle, from Republican think tanks to some Republican voices coming out to say how much this is going to hurt Americans. Trillions of dollars of our wealth has been lost from 401 accounts and more. But I remind you, the most important thing I keep wanting to say, we didn't get suffrage because a bunch of men on the Senate floor put their hands in and said, okay, let's let women have the right to vote. Ready, break. No, a change doesn't come from Washington, it comes to Washington when the people demand it. And so this is a time where people need to help senators have backbone and say enough is enough. How long will we let this man wreak havoc with our global economy, with our national economy, and the lives of people who can't afford the thousands of dollars a year this is going to add to their home kitchen table budgets?
Another crisis that we are watching is this administration is deporting and disappearing people to one of the world's worst prisons. I appreciate you having spoken about that during your speech. Yesterday, 60 Minutes did a report where they found that the majority of the Venezuelans that have been sent to El Salvador do not have records, criminal records. What is your reaction to this? What can be done?
I mean, it's a level of cruelty that's unconscionable that our country would do these things. It's a level of assault on the Constitution. Even the far-right jurist on the Supreme Court, Anton Scalia, said this is about due process. And when you're in the United States of America, everybody has a right to due process. And folks need to understand that they often will go after people they perceive as weak first. They'll demean and degrade them. But no, a threat to a constitutional principle anywhere is a threat to your constitutional rights everywhere. If first they're going after disappearing people on the streets, but do not be surprised if they start eroding your values and rights too. We are all interconnected. We are all in this together. We need to stand up and not have a poverty of empathy in this country, but show a more courageous love for one another, for our neighbors.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because everybody thought it was them.
Yeah.
It turns out them is us.
Like that famous
That's right.
poem from the Holocaust.
Yes.
First they came for...
Yeah. Cory Booker, come back anytime.
Thank you.
All the time. And apparently he's going to be on the Behind the Table podcast with, Brian and them, and Sonny.